Okay guys, so it's been a busy week. Thought I'd check in with you, give you another training video, show you what I'm up to for CCC, how my training's been going. So this last week's been really busy, really hectic, so it's Sunday now, and I haven't managed to film anything this week until today. Yeah, it's been a great week. So I've been in Granada for a lot of this week. Started in Barcelona at the beginning of the week, came out here to Granada. I had the ultra trail, well not the ultra trail Sierra Nevada, but I did the marathon distance yesterday. The race went really well. It was really tough though, really struggled in some respects as well. So the race itself was 40k with 2,500 meters of climbing up to the Sierra Nevadas just outside of town. Really beautiful mountain range, but extreme heat. So right now, to give you some perspective, it's like 6 p.m. right now and it's 43 degrees Celsius. So it's super hot, really intense, and it was the same yesterday in the race. So it's been really challenging. The race went well. I was in second place for a lot of it, pushing really well with the leader, who was just incredibly strong. But it got to 25k in the race and I really started to feel the heat, really started to struggle. We were in like a canyon, climbing up then into, I guess we were around 2,000 meters, so maybe the altitude got to me a little bit more than I realized as well, and I had to slow down the pace. I was just really overheating and really struggling with that. So I just want to talk to you guys a little bit about holding back and knowing when to hold back in training and thinking about your goal. That's something that was certainly on my mind yesterday. 25k into the race, as I said, I really started to feel the heat. I had 15 kilometers to go, all uphill, all climbs, and all really exposed in the sunlight. So I had to hold back, had to take it easy. My main goal, as you know from the title of these training videos, is training for CCC. CCC is coming up fast, and I really wanted to make sure that this race wasn't kind of going to be, I wasn't going to drain myself, wasn't going to overwork myself with this race, and I wanted to jump straight back into the training. As I said, it's Sunday today, the race was yesterday, and I'm out running already, feeling really good, legs are feeling pretty good, I don't really feel too much soreness at all. Had I pushed on yesterday at 25k, maybe I could have held on to that second place finish. I did finish 4th overall in the end. Lost a lot of time when I just decided to take a step back. I had to slow down, had to let my body cool down. It would have been, you know, just as possible possibly to keep going, pushing on the pace. But what it would have meant is just having a few more days now on the other end of it, and maybe allowing the body to recover, because I would have had to dig a lot deeper. I just really wanted to take a step back, hold back, remember my goal, and remember what I'm aiming for. So I mean, it can be the same for you guys. If you're training for a 10k, training for a 5k, or maybe you do a park run regularly, but you know that your goal race is a 10k. You're not going to do a 5k race, you know, park run the week before your 10k goal race, your half marathon, your marathon. You're not going to do that all out. You're not going to do that really hard if you really focus on that marathon effort. You need to think about your goals, think what they are, and think about how you're really truly going to achieve them. It's important not to get carried away in the moment. You know, sometimes that's fantastic. That's one of the best things you can do, is just let everything go and unfold naturally. But if you're really focused on a race, you've been training hard for it, if you've had a coach helping you along the way, if you've been really kind of directly focused on that goal, you have to do everything you can. And sometimes you have to take a step back, underperform almost, to allow yourself to perform when you need to. So that's the message I'm giving with this video, guys. I'm going to do a little breakdown now on the Strava on my race yesterday and the training leading up to it. As I said, the training pretty much after buff was just kind of ticking over again nicely towards the race. So it's been a good few weeks of that now, so I'm looking forward to getting some heavy training from next week. But think about yourselves, guys. Anything in life, you know, that you've got a good goal for and you really want to achieve your best, and sometimes, you know, you have to know when to pick your fights, know when to work really hard and when to take a step back and really compose yourself and think about the goals ahead in the future and what lies ahead. Okay guys, so I just got back from the run. This is how the Strava looked for the week. This is how it all went down. So you can see last week finished up with that Buff Epic Sky race on the Saturday. So recovery went pretty well. Didn't feel too sore on the Sunday or the Monday, but I took the 2 days off just to allow my body just to recover, to freshen up a bit, and to yeah, just kind of let that marathon sink in a bit. Had a fantastic time there. Leading into Tuesday, got myself out there for a nice kind of 9.5 kilometers there. So just took it easy, just for a nice flat, nearly 10k run there, 45 minutes or so. On to Wednesday, I was in Barcelona. This was a nice easy 10 miler. Pace was feeling good, had a bit of hill in there as well, so 324 meters of climbing. Again, just ticking the legs over nicely before the weekend. On the Thursday, I was in Granada, so this was a bit of a shock. Getting into Granada, it was like 40 degrees Celsius. So suddenly I had a lot of heat to play with. But running in Granada is fantastic. Just outside the city centre, you got this General Life Park, which is awesome. Lots of trails, all kind of nestled around the park, all the way up, you know, into the valleys here and into the mountains. It was good just to get out, shaking the legs out, get used to the kind of dry and gravity conditions in Granada, and then get psyched for the race coming up. So again, nothing this week was too intense. It was all just really about just ticking the legs over nicely, keeping them moving ahead of the race, which I knew was going to be tough, given how hot it was in Granada for sure. So on Friday, obviously just a nice easy shakeout run before the race there. So let's have a look at the race, see how that went down. So the race this weekend, as I've already said guys, was really challenging. Loved the trails, really kind of nice and rocky, technical in spots, nice and fast in some of the descents as well. But the heat was where the real kind of race started. When they started heating up, the temperature climbed over 40 degrees Celsius, and this is where I really felt the challenge myself. So looking at the profile, you can see that the race itself had a general trend of an uphill gradient. There was certainly some big long downhills in here, but finishing on top of the mountain over 2,000 meters above sea level. So you can see at the start, I was in second place for a lot of the beginning on these rough trails. It was a really good race. From the start, there was one lad who led it out, had a pretty big kind of formidable lead of maybe a few minutes against me and the guy who eventually went on to win. Going up to 20 kilometers, we kind of caught him up pretty easy. I think he must have just gone out for a hard half marathon effort within the race and then just tried to hold on to what he could. So I was running with the leader for a lot of the race. We were feeling nice and strong. He was very strong on the climbs. I was feeling really good and nice and recovered from Buff Epic the week before, and carrying the pace over really well. So you can see there was some nice pace at the start here, given that we were on the mountains. I was moving well. These were all kind of mostly gravel trails, leading then into these steep technical climbs, which I really enjoyed. Coming up to the 15k mark, you know, we hit some good climbing by this point in the race. And I was feeling good, and I was in that second place, and definitely was looking forward to the rest of the race ahead, knowing I had this long downhill then into the next aid station. Coming out then of this aid station here, where you can see I paused for a moment to fill up the bottles. For the day I was drinking a lot of Tailwind. Usually I try and have a few gels as well, but with the heat being what it was, just didn't feel the temptation to go for gels at all. I was really mainly just focused on staying nice and hydrated throughout the race, making sure that hydration and dehydration wasn't going to be an issue. When I got into these aid stations as well, I was always doing what I always do in these races, grabbing maybe a handful of oranges and maybe a bite of watermelon as well. But knowing that it was only going to be a short, 40k race, I wasn't as concerned as I am in the longer ultras, where maybe I'd grab some bananas as well, just to fill the stomach up a bit more, get some extra calories, and not be left with that kind of empty feeling in the race. So primarily for the race, as I said, I was just hitting the tailwind pretty hard. It was working really well for me. So at this point in the race, as I said, really started feeling the heat. So we were running between this little valley with big mountains either side. Wasn't really much in the way of a breeze, and I really started feeling the heat really hard at this point. So potentially I could have kept the pace going, but knowing that my bigger goal, as I said, is leading into CCC, I took the decision to really drop back on the pace and really hike it out for a little while. And as you can see on the race profile here, the pace really dropped down quite dramatically. I was feeling the heat, and I could have pushed through it perhaps, but pushing through that kind of heat really demands a lot from your body, and it really could have gone the other way. Perhaps pushing through maybe would have dug myself into a bit of a hole. It would have taken longer to recover from the race, which is really something that I didn't want to do. I really want to move forward with my training now, leading into CCC, and just get straight back into the training cycle. So the smart thing for me really felt like taking a step back from the intensity, feeling comfortable, not doing any kind of damage to the body so much by taking that step back, allowing myself to think about the bigger picture of CCC ahead. And as I said in the video, leading into this, it's important sometimes to really fight your battles and choose the right ones for when it's necessary. So as you can see, guys, hiked out for a fair while now before I felt like I'd cooled down enough, managed to find some water. Leading into this part of the race, I just really focused on just sustaining my place, didn't want to lose that fourth position. And then obviously coming around this big corner now, I could see the finish line in the distance. So I knew it wasn't far to go, so just a little bit of extra push, kept that pace going, kept that momentum going, and it felt really good to finish the race feeling strong, feeling like I hadn't taken too much out of my body, and knowing that I'd be able to jump back into training and get on a run today like I did. So then today, guys, you can see, like I said just now, it was all about getting back out there, get the recovery run going, get the recovery feeling good, get the legs and the body feeling fresh leading into the next training aspect. So today's run, as you can see, was just 12.8k, nice and flat, just keeping up pace, real easy, and ticking over nicely. So looking forward next week to getting into some good training again, get some big miles in, get some good height in. I'm going to be training at elevation, as I said. I'm going to be in that town when the race finished, Podiano, at 2,100 meters, with the availability to climb up to 3,000 meters daily. So looking forward to getting that elevation in, getting some big training miles in, putting the body under a lot of training stress, training load, leading up to my next ultra. So it's going to be an exciting one, guys. Looking forward to bringing you along on some runs, showing you some of the area. The mountains up there look really beautiful, and I think there are going to be some good videos out of it as well. So let me know if there's any details, anything that perhaps I don't cover in these videos that you guys would like to see. I'm more than happy to share those training aspects with you in future videos. Hope you guys are out there doing your own races this summer, having some good adventures on the mountains and training for some big goals ahead. Thanks for watching, guys, and happy running.